Yo, what's going on, Dragon Ballers? Welcome back to another video. This time we're going over a Dragon Ball Super community project that I put forth to the Dragon Ball Super card game community discussion group. If you guys are not yet a part of this Facebook group, I strongly recommend you guys join this group. It's a great place to kind of just converge and talk about the game we all know and love. Tons of deck discussions, tons of memes, tons of shit posting, lots of good stuff here for you guys to look at. I'll link it in the description below if you guys are not yet a member of this community. This is where you guys can also get all the news for the game, whether it's content creators, whether it's tournaments, regionals coming up, lots of good stuff posted here. But I put forth the DBS community project, and I've done this once before. I'll probably do it again in the future. Basically, I asked the community a question, and I'm going to feature the community's answers on this YouTube video. So we'll go over what the question was and what the project was. So obviously, we want / need more players to begin playing this game so that it continue to grow and flourish. Now, this game is not anywhere near dead. A lot of people have been afraid of that recently, but that's just not the case. This is just an obvious truth for any card game that wants to have a legacy like Yu-Gi-Oh! And Magic. Obviously, we want to grow and keep going for years and years and years, sets and sets and sets and sets. We want to keep growing. So with that being said, how do you personally get people interested in playing this game? Whether you are trying to convince someone who came from another trading card game or someone who never played card games before, what is your method? Your answers will be featured on the channel on Friday, which is right now. So we're going to go over some of the answers. We're going to discuss some of them. If you guys are trying to grow the Dragon Ball Super scene in your area, if you guys are maybe on the fence about joining Dragon Ball, maybe this will help you kind of get over the hump. So Joe Rogers says, usually I try to find someone that's a fan of Dragon Ball Z, but maybe that doesn't want to make the initial investment into the game, then drop tons of extras on them to get them to play. I do this a lot all the time. I literally have my bulk in my trunk for anyone who wants to play the game, try the game. I definitely agree this is a great strategy to go with. Obviously, it's a lot easier to get someone who's already invested in Dragon Ball to maybe try the card game. So this is definitely a very good strategy. Roman Espinoza, show them the diversity in the different play styles. So you have like control, mid-range, all those types of decks. Introduce them to the community. Let them get to know the player base better. If they are fans of the show, then there are decks that they can base off their favorite characters, and if they have a competitive need for this game, we'll offer that as well. Those are all really great points. I mean, a lot of people are competitors. It's a natural kind of human instinct, and the different playstyles is a really good point. And the player base in the community of this game are absolutely some of the best people I've ever met in my life. So I definitely agree with all those points. My boy Logan says, I always have at least 2 to 3 extra decks on me whenever I go to locals so that a player who might be interested can sit down and try it out. A lot of the time people just like Dragon Ball is enough for them to at least try the game, and by having a variety of decks on hand that feature different iconic characters, that can really pull on that nostalgia. Yes, I definitely agree. I do the same thing too. Just building a ton of decks, maybe getting people to play Yu-Gi-Oh, getting people to play Pokemon, just like, hey, grab this Gogeta deck, let's play a game or two, let's see if you like it. I definitely think that's a great way to do it. Matt Test says, take high points from other games that relate to this. Usually I mentioned it feels like a cross between Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, and Final Fantasy, but faster paced. Price tag, are they a Dragon Ball fan, yes or no? It's fun for competitive and local. Again, hitting on that competitive aspect of people, relating to some of your favorite games, but showing why Dragon Ball can be a little bit better. I definitely do that with Yu-Gi-Oh a lot because that's more where my background comes from. Getting people from other TCGs seems to be the best. Alex says, the game has a much more fair life mechanic than Pokemon. You don't get rewarded with cards for winning battles. It has a more limited option than Yu-Gi-Oh in terms of card pool, having utilized energy, and has a better mana system than Magic, so you don't get mana screwed. So because of this, the game can reach out to players who have issues with any of these and make for a better transition. I like that point a lot. Then, as card pools increase with new product, players who enjoy deck building will gain more options and will have a better time. This game really answers a lot of the issues stemming from other TCGs, and I think that will be a huge way to attract new players. This is also one of the cheaper games, so it is the easiest to transition into. Definitely agree with the card pool being smaller. It's a lot easier to get into, and you can just kind of grow with the game as it grows. Aaron Anthony Abraham, the actual creator of the group, shout out to him. He's got an answer for us. We have one of the biggest IPs in anime history. There's no reason this game can't be one of the top TCGs. I definitely agree. I think by showing different playstyles and something unique for that person helps. I think with the new draft format, that will entice players as it creates a fun environment and an option outside standard. Definitely agree for supporting multiple formats. That can definitely pull more players in, especially for Magic, and start off as casually as possible. Yes, that's how pretty much everyone's going to do it. You're probably going to start off casually unless you're like the most competitive person on the face of the earth. And then as time goes on, if you really want to get into the competitive scene, if you want to start traveling, if you meet more competitive players, you might just slowly get into the competitive scene that way. Drew says, I live way up north in Canada, and this game has more and more people joining up. This game is nowhere near dead. Butthurt players that never really had any passion for this TCG are just fanboying ARG and the Walmart brand Force of Will. Well, I don't really know what the last part's talking about, but I'm glad to hear that the game in Canada is growing very good. Chris Wilson, we mix with other card games. Very simple, straight to the point. Brent says, my methods may be a little different because I own a retail store and sell product, but our main drivers have been literally handing out demo decks to specific customers that show an interest in Dragon Ball in our TCG area. We also provide a light tournament night for beginners and local players that want to deck test. I like that a lot. Just owning a game store perspective, it's really helpful for a lot of players who don't own a game store that just want them to get into the game essentially. Seth says, I'm buying my buddy a stricter deck and a Vegeta leader for it. I think he means starter deck there. Since his favorite character is Vegeta, I figure if he can get into the game for free, he's more likely to be hooked. That's definitely a way to do it. It kind of sucks if your friends are relying on you to buy them product because that's obviously not financially stable for you, and it kind of becomes like a leeching aspect. But if you can get someone maybe a gift, maybe like a Christmas gift or a birthday gift, maybe get them a starter deck, maybe buy them a deck. I've actually done that for a friend before, kind of fun fact, but that's definitely a decent way to do it. My boy Danny says, tell him I can teach him for free to be the best. You doing it for free now, Danny? Shout out to you. That's pretty dope for the community. Kara says, I had never played a TCG in my life and had never planned to. Literally never crossed my mind. However, I'm a huge anime fan and was familiar with the series. My coworker that played DBS and knew I loved anime convinced me to play because of my competitive nature and love for strategical games. I was very skeptical at first and originally beyond overwhelmed by the interactions and amount of card text. Once my now husband, mutual friend of coworkers mentioned earlier, sat down for a couple hours, explained my deck strategy to me, and played a few matches, I was hooked. And then they introduced me to foil cards and max rarity decks, and I've been addicted for almost a year. Definitely resonate with the rarity addiction there, and that's a really cool way to do it. Just get a friend involved, get a coworker involved, just an acquaintance, leech on that kind of love for Dragon Ball. Definitely works. Aaron back again saying hosting demo days helps a lot for sure. Nathan says, as a judge and organizer for my LGS, getting players to pick up DBS was difficult early on. We started around Union Forest when products were limited to 1 or 2 sets, 1 starter, maybe 10, 12 promos. Once more products and cards came out, we went from 6 to 8 players up to 14 plus by Crossworld release. By Colossal Warfare, we had accumulated more than 30 players. After the Storm outbreak, we took a hit and lost nearly half those players and have been slowly rebuilding ever since. I do resonate with that. I think that the Storm format, I think that the Mecha Frieza format, SS3 format, Super Shenron format, it's sad to say, but in just 2 years, we've had 4 pretty bad formats. So I do think that has hit the LGS, but hopefully that's going to come back up. So how do we bring in new players? We offer tournaments. We offer a welcoming environment. We offer a community for each and every game offered. I love that. Our players, my players, are more than willing to teach new people coming from Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, Pokemon, all the card games, as well as tabletop gamers from D&D to Warhammer. Great community there. Our community knows when we hold tournaments solely based on word of mouth. Very little advertising has been done with the exception of large events like prelims and store champs. Players talk to other players, and if a new player joins the community, we welcome them as a friend. That's definitely a great way to get people to come in and stay in, because if people are joining a community and they feel welcome, they feel like they're wanted there, and they make friends, it's definitely a great way to get them to stay in the community, get them to keep playing cards, which is what we want for this game to grow. And we want great people in the community too. So if you're inviting good people into this game, that's going to work out really well. I always give my tournament packs away to new players or players don't have the cards. Funny, I do the same thing. Shout out to Russell. Try to show them that we look out for each other's community. I love that. Apparently so does Brad Brown. Definitely love that sentiment. Diego shares with us here, I just give away spare bulk to new players so they can play, test, see what they like. I definitely agree with that. It's kind of tough though when someone comes up to you and says, hey, I want to play a Goku deck. Well, you're like, well, there's 20 different Goku decks you can play. One's competitive, one's not so competitive, one's more fun. That is a little tough, but you can kind of make it work. I would also point them to things like Untap, OCTGN, Octagon basically, and things like that, just so they can kind of test. Maybe they find a deck they really like, they come to you, ask for the bulk, ask for the commons, you hook them up, and hopefully the rest is Dragon Ball Super playing history with them. Alex says, most of us give away spare bulk, but usually we have a player who just builds decks like Pan and Namekians with the spare cards and gives them the deck. I've done that before as well. It's by no means perfect, but having somewhere to start helps. Then we show them cards or packs that will either improve the deck or help with another deck. And then Jose says, I wonder if multiplayer rules would interest people. That's actually pretty cool. My local for Yu-Gi-Oh does do a 2-on-2 tournament every once in a while, and it's not like an officially supported format or anything like that, but it is a way to kind of diversify the game up a little bit, change things up. I do like that a lot. So these are all really good tips for helping get new people into the game, helping people stay in the game, whether they're brand new into card games, you know, just word of mouth about Dragon Ball being a popular IP. That seems to be one of the most popular ways to do it. And then if you're obviously teaching someone from another card game how to get into this game, showing them that there are better mechanics in this game, mechanics you like better than other card games you've played. Those all seem to be really, really good ideas. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. How do you guys get your friends to play the Dragon Ball Super card game? How do you guys get people interested in card games in general? All all that information is really helpful. So hopefully someone takes the knowledge they've gotten in this video and helps grow the Dragon Ball Super community. That's what we're all trying to do. That's what we all want to accomplish. So guys, thanks so much for watching. My name's Joey. This is Crossfit TCG. Hope you guys get some new players hooked into this game, and I'll see you next time.